The New York Jets have finally had enough. Robert Saleh has been fired after only 5 games. The Jets are 2-3, and quite frankly, they're not any bit better than they were last year when Zach Wilson was playing snaps. Now Aaron Rodgers is in fact back, but the Jets aren't really any better, and that's why Saleh's been fired for sure. But when you think about it, maybe it doesn't make a ton of sense. The Jets defense is extremely good, and has been the whole time under Saleh. The offense has been another story. The offense has been trash, but the defense has been good. And now Saleh is gone, which certainly isn't going to help the offensive side of the ball improve either. The move might not make a ton of sense, but you also can't argue with the lack of success that Saleh's had with the Jets. But first, thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. Football fans, the season is just getting started, and there are so many Sundays left to get in on the action. And right now, you can get in on all the action with our partners over at DraftKings Pick 6, a new way to play daily fantasy sports. All new customers who play just $5 will get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and sign up using our promo code JDPROD, only at DraftKings Pick 6. Getting started is easy. Just download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and sign up using our promo code JDPROD, pick at least 2 players, and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. Like, will they have more or less than 28.5 receiving yards, or will they have more or less than half an interception? Lock them in and compete against others for a shot at huge cash prizes. So download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and sign up using our promo code JDPROD, only at DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Thank you again to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. Let's get right back to it. Saleh was hired to be the Jets head coach back in 2021 after he was an elite defensive coordinator for the 49ers. And I'm betting on him going somewhere else and being a fantastic defensive coordinator again here soon. When you look at his defenses with the Jets, they were good. If the goal was to hire him to fix the Jets defense and build an elite unit, he did just that. But he never did figure out quarterback or the offensive side of the ball in general. When he was hired, the Jets had the 2nd overall pick and used it on Zach Wilson, which was quite the mess. Mike LaFleur was the offensive coordinator for that very ugly Zach Wilson era. Year 1 was really bad. Zach was the week 1 starter, and the Jets ended up going 4-13. He struggled, but he was also a rookie. It happens sometimes, but he didn't get any better the next season. In fact, he was probably worse. He didn't end up taking any accountability for his performance after that gross 10-3 loss to the Patriots, and he got benched. Joe Flacco and Mike White both started 4 games, and the Jets went 7-10. It was an improvement, sure, but it felt like it was more because of the defense than the offense. It's no secret that Zach Wilson just wasn't working out for the Jets after 2 years, and the Jets clearly thought that they were on the path to having a true contender team, especially after Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year and Sauce Gardner won Defensive Rookie of the Year. It was easy to think that the Jets would only continue to get better, but there was still one glaring issue: quarterback. And then in came Aaron Rodgers. The Packers were finally ready to move on to Jordan Love, and the move made perfect sense. So the Jets pulled the trigger. Rodgers had plenty of his buddies come along with him to New York too. Wide receiver Allen Lazard, and of course, Nathaniel Hackett. Now Hackett didn't cut it as the Broncos head coach in the slightest, but he was a great offensive coordinator in his time with the Packers. So it made sense to pair the two up, and Rodgers wanted to play for Hackett again, but it really hasn't worked well. That first season was a complete wash. The Jets go out and trade for Aaron Rodgers, only for him to play 4 snaps and tear his Achilles. And just like that, the Jets were back to square one with Zach Wilson starting, and there were no improvements at all. The Jets went 7-10 and also started Trevor Siemian and Tim Boyle over the span. Not exactly an ideal situation. There was the question all season long of if Rodgers could return from the injury, but he didn't. So after sitting out for the entire season and rehabbing through the offseason, the Jets essentially got a do-over this season with Aaron Rodgers, Nathaniel Hackett, and Robert Saleh all coming back. There definitely was the chance that Woody Johnson could just clean house, but everyone survived, including Joe Douglas, a Richmond guy like us. He took over as the Jets general manager back in 2019, so he had the 2 years of Adam Gase. The Jets went 7-9 in 2019 and 2-14 in in 2020. Sam Darnold was the starter over those 2 years, with some starts coming from Luke Falk, Trevor Siemian, and Joe Flacco. It truly wasn't a good stretch in the slightest, but all was supposed to be better with Aaron Rodgers. After the disaster that was 2023, this season was supposed to be better, and instead, it's been a lot like last year without Rodgers. The offense still can't move the ball, and the Jets are just mid. The idea of delaying the restart was that the Jets just wanted to find out how good they'd actually be with Rodgers, but it's been pretty similar, and that's exactly why Saleh got fired. In all, he got 4 snaps of Rodgers last year and only 5 games this year before getting canned. Simply put, the Jets just haven't lived up to expectations. Once again, the Jets started the season on Monday Night Football with the whole country watching. And the good news is that Aaron Rodgers didn't get hurt this time, but instead, the Jets lost. They had to go out on the road to play the 49ers, and the 49ers are also not off to that great of a start, but they were at least healthy at the time, minus Christian McCaffrey for the game. It felt like it was going to be a fun year. Breece Hall punched it in, and it was 7-3 to end the first. And then the Jets got absolutely pummeled and gave up 23 straight points. The Jets did try to make it a bit more interesting with, of course, 2 Allen Lazard touchdowns, but it wasn't good enough, and the Jets lost 32-19. It did still feel like it was okay to lose to a good team like the 49ers, even if the season has been a bit rocky. To an extent, it feels like that's the closest thing that they've come to having an excusable loss. But of course, the Jets then went on to rattle off a couple of wins. The Jets beat the Titans in week 2 in a pretty ugly game, and I think it seems obvious that the Titans aren't exactly a great team, but the Jets still had to squeeze by. It was tied going into the 4th quarter, and it took a late Braylon Allen touchdown to win 24-17. If the Jets truly were a good team, it wouldn't have taken a late touchdown to beat the sorry Titans. Now, the Jets did turn around and beat the crap out of the Patriots 24-3 on Thursday Night Football, but the Patriots aren't very good, and it really hasn't taken very long to figure that out. If you're a good team, you're supposed to beat bad teams by a lot, and the Jets just aren't a good team right now. Regardless, after 3 weeks, they were 2-1, and there was reason to believe, but not so much after week 4. Really, the worst loss of the season for the Jets was 100% to the Broncos. Not only do you simply have to beat the Broncos just because of the whole Nathaniel Hackett thing, but also the Broncos just aren't that good, and they were starting a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix, who did end up struggling. The worst part of the loss, though, was definitely the way they lost. 10-9. Yes, the Jets lost 10-9. They just couldn't score a touchdown against the Broncos and had to settle for 3 field goals, didn't score double-digit points, and lost by 1 point. It really was just one of the most painful ways to lose. One that the Jets needed to bounce back from. And well, they didn't. The Jets followed up a terrible loss with another loss in London on Sunday Morning Football 23-17 against the Vikings, who, to be fair, are still undefeated. The Vikings were up 17-0 until less than a minute left in the first half, and the Jets did make it close, but it wasn't enough. And on the following Tuesday, it was reported that Robert Saleh had been fired as the Jets head coach, and it really was surprising. Saleh didn't even see it coming. Owner Woody Johnson had seen enough, and he made the decision on his own. The problem with these teams has always very clearly been the offense and not the defense, so it is weird seeing Saleh get the boot for that, but at the end of the day, he is the head coach, and Jeff Ulbrich is now the interim head coach. And Ulbrich has been the defensive coordinator for the Jets since 2021. All in all, Robert Saleh finished his time at 20-36 without a single playoff appearance. The Jets haven't made the postseason in 13 years, which, by the way, is the longest drought for any team, and it doesn't feel like it's going to end anytime soon. But the new question that pops up is whether or not Aaron Rodgers is even going to be the starting quarterback next season. He's 40 years old and will be turning 41 in December. And oh yeah, he's still coming off of that Achilles tear. His time is coming to finally hang it up, and the Jets are going to have to find a new quarterback solution. The good news is the Jets do have a good defense and some good offensive weapons, but Woody just needs to hire the right coach. And to be fair, he didn't hire Saleh, so we'll see.